Hello, it's Kendall, and today I'm going to be drawing on the smallest piece of paper that I own. Now, right off the bat, I will point out a little bit of the obvious, which is these pieces of paper are almost all a different size, but it's okay because now each drawing can be different and have its own unique personality because they're all different shapes. So this is an opportunity. And with that being said, I will be picking a few different shapes per drawing, and I will be doing 3 drawings per video for this series. Since these pieces are so tiny, it's going to be really hard to draw on them without them moving around. So I'm using a little bit of painter's tape to keep it down. And the reason why I'm using painter's tape instead of the normal clear tape is because if you use the normal clear tape, it could possibly rip up the paint on your desk and it could damage the paper itself. While the painter's tape, it doesn't do that. Now it's time to zoom in very closely because with this being a tiny drawing, it's really hard to see on camera. So this just helps. It may look a little bit grainy, I'm not gonna lie, but you can see it now. For my first drawing, I'm going in with my sketch, and I decided to actually draw my grandma. I love my grandma so much. She's such a big part of my life. So I'm going to do a little mini portrait of her. It's time for me to outline, and I'm using much smaller outliners than I usually would, simply because of how small the paper is. My usual size liners will just look jumbo size on here. So I'm going in between my second to largest size and my almost smallest size. So now I'm going to get started on my second drawing, and I'm going to take this drawing and set it off to the side. I'm letting the ink dry from the outline so that later I can go back in and I can erase the original sketch without smearing the outline. Going in for my second drawing, I decided that I want to do a little flower. Now, talking about this series for a second, I really just generally enjoy the concept and the execution of this idea, but I heavily encourage you to try this out as well, primarily due to the fact that it allows you to practice so much without having to spend as much time or resources on a really large piece of paper. Along with that, when you are trying to draw on a very large piece of paper, it can be intimidating. You can feel like you have to draw it perfectly, and it can also create a lot of art block. But taking a small piece of paper and just drawing without any concern about if you're using up a whole page of your notebook or if it's gonna come out looking perfect, it helps you to stop overthinking and just draw and get that practice in. From this, I've realized I don't need to use a whole notebook page in order to improve my art. Now it's time to repeat the process and move on to our third drawing. For this one, I knew immediately what I wanted to do, and that is to draw a gummy worm. This is specifically the Trolleys sour gummy worms because those are my literal favorite. I'm not an addict for them or anything like that. Like, it's not that deep, but what I will say is that I can enjoy it with a movie. Especially a horror movie. Love horror movies. Anyways, that's a side note. The color palette for this gummy worm will be my favorite gummy worm though. So yeah, it's the main reason why I'm drawing it. Now that the first drawing that I did is completely dry, I was able to erase it without smudging the outline. As you can see, I was about to use this marker, and once again, it is completely dried out. Thankfully, I did have a second marker of this very specific shade, so it did end up working out, which I was very happy about because this is the one that I wanted to work out with. Now, Copic markers are pretty good for not bleeding outside of the lines, but they are still alcohol markers at the end of the day, so with this being such a small drawing, I didn't want to risk having the colors bleed on top of each other, so I did go in with some color pencils for this one. Did try to do a bit of shading with my alcohol marker, but unfortunately this one was as well dried out. Crazily and thankfully enough though, I ended up having a color pencil that was the exact same color. So I decided to use that instead of struggling with the alcohol marker. This adorable drawing of my grandma is now finished, and I really love the little hearts that I put at the bottom. Now, starting on to my flower design, I'm going to keep the colors pretty simple on this one, but I am going to add quite a bit of shading. Our flower is now done, and now it's time to move on to our gummy worm. This gummy worm is going to be an experimental drawing, as I'm going to be trying out a technique that I've actually never used before, so you'll see more about that later. Now here is the part where it gets experimental. Because of the fact that the gummy worms are sour, they have this white sour coating, and I want to try to mimic that in my drawing. So I went ahead and I grabbed a white color pencil, and I'm just going to do some dots. My fear is that it's going to look kind of disgusting, like some type of rash, but I'm hoping that it gives off that fluffy and like sour candy type look. And that concludes my 3 tiny miniature drawings for today. They are all so extremely different, but they all came out so cute. I am so happy with them. I'm excited for you to see the rest of the drawings that I come up with, so make sure to subscribe and like this video to follow along on this neat little series of mine. Thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.